They realize we bad guys and bad guys be Raiders. Raiders, let's go Raiders, let's go Raiders, let's go Raiders, let's go. If you bought that life, if you bought that action, if you bought.
Yo, the Raider Nation, it's your boy Dub Raider. Welcome to another episode of the Raider Nation's Weekly Wire. Again, today we have my friend, my podcast mentor, Chris from Protect the Shield. Chris, welcome to another week of our little show here. I'm very excited to talk about our topics today. Just to let everybody know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about draft needs versus best available, combine drills, and free agent QBs that are on the market, and the rumor mill that's going around. Again, Chris, thanks for being with me today. I know you were a little under the weather, but you still prevailed. Thanks again, my brother.
No, for sure, man. I wouldn't miss it. I actually look forward to this every week, man. I definitely love talking ball with you, man. In this episode number 3, man, we're rocking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, we are definitely educating the Raider Nation on, the ins and outs of football. And, I'm actually learning so much from you as well because, I'm not as in depth. My knowledge doesn't go as deep as you with football, but everything you've helped me and help us understand, is definitely opening up my eyes to more of what football's all about, and not just, what we see on Sundays or Saturdays on TV. So thank you again for that, my brother.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Like I love the game. I'm just a big fan of the game, and I don't know it all, of course, but I study the game pretty closely, and I just love it, man. And I love talking ball with people like you and the Raider Nation all the time, man. So let's get it.
Yeah, and it goes to show if you guys don't know yet, Chris has a couple of other shows that go in depth into what Raider football actually is all about. We will talk about it more towards the end, so just stay tuned. Um, let's jump into the first topic. Like I mentioned, the NFL draft. Every year we have our draft. We pick players, different rounds. Whenever we go and pick our player, there's always that question: our needs versus the best available player. A lot of people don't understand the differentiation between, what the team is and what the best player is about. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah. So each year, all teams kind of go through the same issue. You go into the draft thinking, hey, what do I need? What am I missing? What's my team lacking? So, and of course, no team is perfect. So, even the Super Bowl champs like the Eagles, they're going to kind of look at, their whole season, and they're going to say, hey, what were the strengths of our team? What's the weaknesses? Where can we get better? And the Raiders, as bad as we've been for so long, we have plenty of areas where we can get better. So we have a lot of needs. So there's two rules or two schools of thought on how do you approach the draft. You can go, like you said, with the need. So therefore, if I know my number one need is a quarterback, then regardless of how the draft goes before we pick, I'm going to make sure I get the quarterback that I need. So for example, us picking at 6 this year, there's really 2 top quarterbacks this year. Shador and Cam Ward. Some people will argue, Dart and some other guys. So if I'm a team that's going by just need at number 6, so we're saying if Shador is off the board, if Cam is off the board, instead of getting one of the other guys that's like, a Mason Graham or other guys that are just a dominating force, but not in a position that we necessarily need, I will say, screw that. I'm going to still go get a quarterback. Even though this quarterback might be graded to be a second round guy or even a third round guy, I'm still going to go draft for the need and go get that quarterback.
Right.
So that's kind of that school of thought. The other way is get the best player available. So that way is like, hey, regardless if I have someone that is, like for instance, last year was an example of us doing the best player available.
Yes.
We, our tight end, we could always upgrade the tight end, but you know, Brock Bowers was there. Brock Bowers is a generational talent. We said, hey, instead of reaching and getting, a quarterback later, or not a quarterback later, but just getting a quarterback, or getting a wide receiver or lineman or whatever, we're saying, hey, we're gonna get the best guy there regardless of the position. And that was
I'm sorry to interrupt, but at the moment, if I remember correctly, we were looking for an offensive lineman. That was our one of the biggest needs, and there was I forgot his name. Yeah, Fuaga. He was like, I guess he would have fit our team better than just this pick out of nowhere for Brock Bowers.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of people no one was expecting Brock Bowers, especially because we used draft capital the year before. So, but we decided to do best player available, and that's how we got Brock.
And man, it was it was a really good choice.
Oh yeah,
A really good choice.
absolutely.
Okay, now here's like a subsequential question to that. If we're talking about best available player, I'm sorry, not best available player, by needs, if we're gonna choose a position that we need, which one is usually first? Is it usually quarterback? Is it running back? Is it offensive line? Is it defensive line? Defensive backs? What is usually the I guess the order of picking need?
So the most important, yeah. So generally, when you're thinking about like building a team, like your quarterback is always going to be the foundation of your team. That's always important. Then you always look at like the left tackle, that's always important. An edge rusher is always important. So those are always key. But and it always kind of depends on what you already have too. Like, if you have like a stud wide receiver, like a Justin Jefferson or, a Jamar Chase, and it's like, hey, it's really important to get a quarterback because we want to feed that guy the ball.
Right.
Or, you already have a quarterback and you're like, man, I want to do like what the Bengals did and go get a receiver that I can match with them right away. So it kind of depends, but if you're just looking at just a position as a whole, you usually look at quarterback, left tackle, and a pass rusher.
So then most of the time is just it would be based on how the team is set up, correct? Like you were mentioning, if we already have a quarterback but don't have a wide receiver, and we have a running back. Okay, let's go for the wide receiver spot. Or we have a wide receiver, quarterback, and running back, but our offensive line isn't stout, so we need to solidify that a little bit more. Or vice versa, you got a good offense, but your defense is lackluster, right? You want to kind of like bolster that side as well.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
oh, that's cool. That's cool. And okay, and now going to the other side, the best available.
Yeah.
I know that obviously there's different uh, best available players per position. Does this also translate to the pick of best available? So let's say, for example, if you already have a quarterback, but the best available player is a quarterback, do you take him as well, or do you just look for, let's say, a running back or whatever else?
Yeah. So a lot of times when you look at it that way, you're looking to get a true upgrade. So, like for instance, like if I am, let's see, who has a good core, like if I'm the Chargers or something, the Chargers have, a very good quarterback. Now, if by time they pick, I mean, we know it's not going to happen. If by time they pick and the best player available is a quarterback, no, they're not going to get a quarterback.
Right.
Even if it may be a slight upgrade, you know, so it doesn't always, correlate right there, but you just want a big enough upgrade. So therefore, when we were on the clock, yeah, we had Michael Mayer. You know, Michael Mayer at that point, it was like, okay, we're still trying to see what he's going to be, but many people think he had a high ceiling because, coming out of college, he was one of the best. Um, so when Brock was there, you look at Brock and you're like, how much better is Brock than Michael Mayer? And that's kind of what they're thinking. They're like, so therefore Brock to me is a generational type tight end. So it's like you don't pass on that to try to just get another position of need. You get that generational player and get them on your team.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's usually something that I would notice in every draft. I'd be online watching, with other people, and you'd see all the comments like, "How the hell did we pick that one? That's a stupid pick, blah blah blah." Especially when Brock Bowers was picked. Oh my God, the internet exploded. But obviously in hindsight now we're like, man, we picked a great pick. Brock Bowers turned out to be the most amazing tight end I've seen since.
The beast.
Yeah, man.
The beast.
So it was definitely a great pick, and that's the reason why I wanted us to speak about this, is because a lot of people don't understand that aspect.
Yeah.
Teams versus the best available, and if we already have it, why do we still pick that position, even though we have holes on other positions? But I hope this lets everybody understand a little bit better of why teams make these picks.
Yeah. Let's just kind of piggyback off that. I mean, and GMs have different philosophies anyway on how they think they want to build the team anyway. So, you get certain GMs that's their mindset, no matter where they go, and I think Telesco's kind of like that. Telesco's always been like, we're getting the best guy available.
Right.
Whereas, you think about Al Davis. Al Davis was kind of and he was just kind of unique in his thoughts. But like a lot of people are just a lot different on their philosophy there. So we always got to keep that in mind. Not Telesco, but Spytek. I think he'll probably be a best player available type of guy too. So we'll see.
Even though he's going to have input from outside sources.
You talking about Spytek?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brady's gonna let him. I think Brady hired him with the understanding of, hey, I trust you. I've saw what you've done, with the Buccaneers, and I've seen what you've done in the past. I'm gonna ultimately give the keys to you. I may advise, but I think he's gonna put trust in him.
That's cool. That's all we can hope. Hope for the best. That's what we need. And like you mentioned, we have a lot of need. I think the only solidified position we have is tight end right now.
Tight and defensive end.
That's right. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be in a good spot whoever we pick.
The 13th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia.
All right. So Brock Bowers is going to the Raiders.
Now let's move on to the combine drills. We spoke about this, I believe it was in the last show. How I see the combine as just a show for the coaches, a show for the masses, to show the athleticism of the college players, and the possibility of what they can give to the potential teams that draft them. What are your thoughts as far as what these drills are about, and what do these drills entail?
Yeah, so I think you're right. A lot of times, when we're looking at the combine, it is a chance for these owners and scouts and others to look at these prospects up close and personal, kind of look at their true athletic ability. You can kind of look at their measurables, how long their arms are, their true height and weight, because a lot of times in college, you can list yourself whatever you want. You can be 6'2", 225, but then you get to the combine, you're like, all right, you're 5'11", 208. So, it gives a chance to really, go deep dive into the medical there, make sure, check your heart. A few years ago, well, not a few years ago, but, we had a guy that we drafted out of Michigan, Maurice Hurst. He was going to be a first round pick, but, they did a lot of testing and found out that he had a heart condition and he dropped. Yeah, he dropped all the way to us, I think, in like the fourth or fifth round, and he was a All American. So, yeah, so it's just a deep dive of really looking into those guys. And as far as the drills go, um, it's really just testing their athleticism. So, we can kind of go by, the different drills that they have. So, everyone knows the 40-yard dash. That's pretty much the most popular one that a lot of people base a lot of their decisions on, especially our beloved Al Davis. He lived and died by that 40-yard dash. Yeah, so oh yeah, he loved his speed, man. So and that's what the 40-yard dash was. It is basically just it measures that straight line speed and that acceleration.
Right.
So, when they're looking at the 40-yard dash and they're like, well, why is that important? You got like the wide receivers and quarterbacks, they just need that speed to stretch the field. The running backs need that speed to be able to break away. Our edge rushers, linebackers, they need that to be able to close gaps and chase down plays and stuff like that. So and even the linemen, they 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 don't necessarily look at the whole 40-yard, but that first 10 yards, they want to know what that first 10-yard split is. That shows what kind of twitch those linemen have in explosion. So
But see, this is the thing I don't understand. Why don't they do these drills with actual players, like having opposing players, not necessarily full on tackle, but kind of like they do like the hands off drills on and during training camp, where it's just kind of like they go through the motions. That way, there's an actual visual of their mobility, like let's say running backs, their ability to cut, to turn, to stop, than just having them run on an empty field. I agree. It would give more of a visualization of what this player can actually do.
no, I agree 1,000%. I agree because 40-yard dash, I mean, anyone that, a track guy can go in there and just wow you. But,
Sure.
just because you can do that doesn't mean that you can, run a route and get separation. Trey Tucker is a perfect example of that. Trey Tucker is as fast as they come, but when you watch him on film, he cannot get separation from guys that are slower than him. You
Yeah,
know?
as long as he has open field, he's good.
Yeah, exactly.
But if he's covered, nothing's gonna happen. Wait, I don't like. I had just heard, how they had announced the Hall of Fame inductees, Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
But they had mentioned that he was the slowest or one of the slowest tight ends on the field, but yet he had the maneuverability
Got open.
to escape his coverage. And he was always available, and that's those are the things that obviously you want to see of these players in the combine. And I would hope that they would incorporate that more than just like, oh, just run straight, or oh, just do this, just the individual player by himself.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And and there's other drills, of course, like we talk about the bench press, guys that, the bench presses, they do 225 and see how many times they can do that.
Right.
And even when you look at that, like strength, like some people, just can bench press a lot, but but there's something about like that cornbread, Bell and Hayes strength, man. Like, guys that may not be able to bench press, but these guys are just country strong that can just move you out the way. So, you're right. You get some of these drills, but they don't always tell the full story.
Right. And I that's again something that I've always wondered and has really turned me off from the combine, because I tried watching it, a few years, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, this is boring as hell. You know, they're not that I'm trying to be entertaining, but obviously I want to see what the players can do. But there's no opposition. There's no challenge. It's kind of like run, jump, lift, you know, do the little drills in your position, but there's no opposition. So how do you know what they're actually going to be able to do? You know, like what is it? The offensive linemen. You know, when they come off the line, they're how quick they are and where their hands go and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. They look a little dumb, just what we do. Obviously, that's part of the position, but if you don't see it against a defensive player coming in, it just makes no sense. At least for people that don't understand. You know, so I would hope the combine would incorporate at least that, some bots or something. You know, since they're starting to incorporate that.
No, I mean you're right, man. Like I tell people all the time, man. You know, it cracks me up how people just get so excited about watching these quarterbacks throw to a guy that's wide open. I mean, that nobody's there. You know, he's not getting rushed. There's no pressure. It means nothing. It means nothing, man.
And then their stock rises
Yeah,
after the combine
ex-
because they're throwing it at a wide open receiver.
exactly. So now all of a sudden you ignore what you saw every Saturday morning, you know, in college football, and you ignore what you saw in the film, but now you take everything you see in this combine, and now a guy that was going to be in third round, now you want to draft him in the first round because of that. This is ridiculous to me.
I don't get it. I would think that these individuals getting paid this big money to look at these players and grade them and bring recommendations back to the team, and have been doing this for years.
Yeah,
This is what they base everything on. Come on, man.
it's a lazy way. It's a lazy way to scout, I think.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I don't know, but it is what it is, and we just gotta deal with it. But we can let our grievances out. That's what these shows are for.
Yeah.
Nation, what do you guys think of the combine? Did you guys agree with what we're saying? Do you think it's fine? Do you enjoy it? Let us know. Because at this point, I'm just kind of like whatever. It really doesn't matter until they're actually on the field with pads playing against an opposing team. What about you, Chris?
God, I'm the same way. I've been on record many times. People start falling in love with a certain player. I'm like, okay, well, let me go back to the film. Let me go back to the tape and see what he did on Saturdays, and then that will let me know how excited I am about that person.
But then also, even that college film, how well does that translate to the actual NFL? Because again, we've talked about this, where in college you have elite, mediocre, and scholarship football players, to where in the NFL you have the one percenters of the world. So how do you compare that the film from college to translate, at least in your mind, into the NFL?
So, I mean, you're right. Of course, you have to take a lot of things into consideration, specifically, the competition that people are playing against. So that's when people start talking about the conferences. You look at, the SEC, a lot of those guys are future NFL players. So you're playing against, other top tier talent, whereas some of the smaller conferences, you may not have, that talent. So it's not, it's not always going to be a perfect match, because sometimes people are going to, slip through the cracks. Sometimes you're going to find a diamond in the rough. Sometimes people, they have what it takes, but they weren't coached properly, or they didn't have the type of player that can motivate them. So, a true scout can be able to look at somebody and at least see that potential and see, okay, he at least has the core components that I need that I could develop, so that's what you're looking for. But you're right. Someone that is, playing against a guy that's going to be a call center agent next year, against, a guy that's going to be playing against, you know, Sauce Gardner next year, it's just different. It's just different.
Right. Yeah. I have a old friend of mine, goes by the name Ken Swift. He actually grew up, went to college with Greg Townsend.
Oh, nice.
And they were both basically at the same level of I guess of athleticism and football prowess or whatever you want to call it. But yet we know what Greg Townsend did in his career. And my friend, not to put him down, because he actually had a great career as a probation officer. He was a college school board member, so he did well in his life. But as far as in college, they were both somewhat equals. But I guess it didn't translate to when it came down to the actual football career, and I guess that's where we have to hope for the best. And sometimes you get lucky and you get a great player. And the way we've seen it in the Raider Nation, it's very rare when we get lucky with good players.
That is true. That is true, man. But no, that's a good story. I mean, that's so true, man. We see that time and time again.
Yeah, it's been what, 2 players and a handful of drafts that have actually actually now 4 players that have actually panned out from the draft in the past for like 5-6 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
If that. So.
And were you the one that told me that if we get 3 good players out of the draft, that's been an amazing draft, or was that Leo?
Yeah, no, I always say that. Yeah, I say, if you can get 3 starters out of a draft, that's beautiful. That to me that's a good draft.
Yeah, it's not a good draft. 3 in the last 5-6 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why, like, that year that Gruden, had those 3 first-round picks, and and I think we had 2 second-round picks that year. So I think we had like a total of 5 picks in the first. I forgot how many picks or whatever. But like, that should have been a team generational draft for us. Like, that should have been, one of those drafts that could have springboarded us to, consistent, dominance. And we struck out so bad that draft. We lucked up and got Max Crosby later on. But besides that, we struck out. I love Josh Jacobs, but it doesn't matter. We didn't keep him around for a second contract. So we struck out completely, man. And then that's why I don't want Gruden back.
Yeah, let's just hope Spytek changes that this year.
Absolutely.
We had a good draft last year. Hopefully, it continues this year. And just wait and see.
For sure.
They're going to enter the NFL draft. But first, they must run, jump, throw, and answer a few questions. Football scouts measure the measurables and evaluate talent. It's sort of like track and field and a pop quiz combined. Pun intended. All potential NFLers participate in various workouts. On your mark, the 40-yard dash, a test of pure speed. Who is the fastest man at the combine? Only one can claim the top time of all time. Other combine drills include the 3-cone drill, a test of raw agility. The broad and vertical jump determine one's ability to catch air and the ball. For a change of direction, try the shuttle run. And finally, the bench press, where strength and stamina take center stage. Athletes are also subjected to position-specific tests. Linemen pressure the opponent and demonstrate technique. Running backs accelerate and make split-second decisions. Quarterbacks read, react, and show off their accuracy. Elite athleticism aside, everyone must also take a written test called a Wonderlic. Players can score a maximum of 50 points on this test, which measures cognitive ability and problem solving. So, that's all? Not quite. Teams have the opportunity to interview potential employees and find the perfect fit. Coaches want to know, what is their weight? What is their height? Such things are important.
So, our next topic, free agent QBs. Obviously, everybody's talking about the drafting of Sanders and Cam Ward. Hopefully, we'll be able to get one of the two. And now, who's the third? The third draftee that's actually coming into talks now. Like, everybody's. Yeah. Now there's three QBs in the mix. But let's say, for example, we miss out on all three, or the organization decides to go elsewhere, like another position to strengthen, like maybe defense or offensive line or whatever. Um, there's been talk of a few free agent quarterbacks out there that through hearsay, they've talked about how Sam Darnold, maybe Aaron Rodgers, Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr, Justin Fields, all these quarterbacks are now being mentioned with the Raiders as a possibility of being a bridge quarterback. What are your feelings on any of these guys, or all of these guys, starting with Sam Darnold?
Yeah, so there's a lot of reports kind of connecting us with Sam Darnold. Um, Me personally, I'm not too high on Sam Darnold just because for what we're going to have to pay him, he's not going to be a bridge quarterback. He's going to be a guy that's going to want to be a franchise quarterback. He's still fairly young. He's going to want over 40 mil per year. Um,
At least 3 year contract he wants.
yeah, I think probably at least three, probably four, maybe even more. I mean, because he probably he understands that his market is probably as high as it's going to be. Because people got to realize, I mean, Sam Darnold, he's been in the league, what about 7 years or so. Um, he's had 1 year. He has 1 year. Like people forget last year he was uh he was third string for the 49ers. Like he was behind Brock Purdy, who was the last person drafted, Mr. Irrelevant, and he was behind Trey Lance. I mean, people forget that. He was third string. So, I mean, you can't get fooled off of just 1 year. And the Raiders, we've gotten fooled before, letting a guy who had one good year and then we want to throw a whole bunch of money to him. I'm not interested.
And that's what I'm fearful, man, is because we have that record of picking up the shiny new toy, or is that the one that's talked about a lot. Well, I'm really hoping we don't do that this year. Because obviously Sam Darnold is not the guy, at least in my eyes. He is not the guy to be a bridge quarterback and pay him that much money. No. I think we learned our lesson this last season with yeah, Gardner Minshew, what they paid him 25 or something like that for 2 years, or each year or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, let's not do that. At least if you're gonna give him money, make it a prove it contract. Incentivize. But if you do this, then you get it.
Yeah.
That to me, I think, is definitely the way to go. But we don't have that history. Is that we have that? Oh, let's get this guy. We'll sell tickets, or we'll sell jerseys, or
Exactly.
everybody will get excited at least for the first quarter of the season. And then when the player actually starts coming out and being what they are, then we go back to like, same old Raiders.
Exactly.
And I don't want that to happen again this year.
Yeah, we do it so much.
So now that we also now have ties with, because the Jets let go of Aaron Rodgers, now that they're talking about Aaron Rodgers and maybe even Devontae Adams coming back to the Raiders. What do you think of that?
Well, Devontae for sure is not coming back. There's zero chance that he'll come back. Rodgers, I couldn't see him, coming here, because I think he's at the point where he still wants to be competitive. But I don't want Rodgers anyway. Because again, when I'm looking at who our quarterback's going to be, unless it's like just a clear star, like if we just go trade and get someone starter and just get a star, I'm looking at a guy that's going to be a bridge to whoever our young quarterback's going to be.
Right.
And there's nothing about Aaron Rodgers that gives me a mentor feeling.
Right.
He doesn't seem to have the mentor attributes. That doesn't seem to be his MO. To be honest, he's a very, very questionable leader. I won't say he just I won't say exactly. It's like,
How about him?
yeah, exactly. So, you know, bringing him into a locker room with some young guys, it's not. I'm not interested at all. And you know, he's a shell of what he used to be, but he can still win games. Now, don't get me wrong, he can still win games, but I need a quarterback that's going to be there all camp, not going to be hidden away in some cave, in the dark, trying. Yeah, exactly. Like I need a guy that's going to be out there alongside Max Crosby, trying to get this going in the right direction.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I think he definitely was a great quarterback once. He's on the downhill of his career, and you know what? I wish him luck wherever he ends up. But I don't want him with the Raiders. I would rather have definitely maybe a lower caliber quarterback, but a leader, a mentor, someone that can actually teach, someone that can motivate our players to be better. And I think Aaron Rodgers joining the Raider organization would be more, I don't want to say of a cancer, but more of a distraction.
He would.
To because he would be interested in his life than football.
Exactly.
I'll be like, I have to do this, so you guys have to work around my schedule. Now, we don't need that, especially right now,
No.
the way our team sits. If we were already like maybe a playoff team or
Exactly.
near misses, okay, we can let the players get away with that. But we're not there. We're definitely not there. We don't need that. And like I said, hopefully he lands somewhere and he has a good end to his career, but not with us.
Yeah, now that year that we had like, when we still had like Waller and then we still had um
Renfro,
Devontae, Renfro, Jacobs, and like all we needed was a quarterback, then yeah. They'd be, okay, Aaron, I need you to, you're the icing on the cake. Let's get it. But like with us needing so much, we know things aren't going to go right. We're Raider Nation. We know things aren't going to right.
right?
We don't need that Aaron, issues on top of that.
Yeah, Devontae Adams showed us that last season.
Yeah,
So
true.
we don't need that. We definitely don't need that. All right, next quarterback, Marcus Mariota. Marcus was a backup for Derek Carr a couple of years back. He did okay, but he got hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But he has, I believe he has history with Chip Kelly, if I'm mistaken, right? So what do you think of that pickup, if possible?
Yeah, so if we decide to go with a quarterback in the draft, I think Marcus would be um a good backup quarterback, good bridge quarterback. Um he understands his role. I think even when he was with us, I think he did a good job, being a backup to Derek Carr. Doing a phenomenal job, with what how he helped Jaden Daniels, with the Commanders. Um, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to keep him around. And um, but overall, yeah, Marcus is he would be a good guy to have in your quarterback room. Not necessarily taking starting snaps, but you definitely want him in your quarterback room, specifically if you got Chip Kelly as a coach.
Right. No, and I've heard a lot of good things about Mariota. He's a great team player. He's a great leader. He's definitely about the team. Whatever team he's in, he's definitely about the team. He's definitely about his players. So I definitely agree with that as well. If he's able to come, I think he'd be great. For as like a mentor to our future quarterback. Maybe take a snap here and there, but to be the full time starter, I don't think so, because I don't think he'd be able to handle it. At least a full on year of starting quarterback duties. But it'd be great to have him again. It'd be great to have him. Let's see. How about our old friend, Derek Carr?
How'd I know you was gonna say Derek Carr? Um, I mean, salute to Derek Carr. Me personally, I mean that ship has sailed for me. Um, I think Derek still wants to be a starter in the NFL. I think he still believes he could be a starter in the NFL. Um, I think Derek is a leader. I definitely do think he's a leader. But I wouldn't want him necessarily being our quarterback of the future or anything like that.
Not even a bridge quarterback.
Um, if he was willing to be a bridge quarterback, and if he's willing to take bridge quarterback money, and I think that's the thing with Derek. He's he still can get a nice bag in the NFL somewhere. I just don't want to give him that bag, but um,
Well, I've heard that supposedly the Saints are
yeah,
stuck.
they're stuck with his contract. Yeah,
Right. But if they do release him, it will kind of be kind of like the same situation that Denver
with Russ.
ended up with Russell Wilson, correct?
Yeah,
So let's say if that situation would occur and the Raiders had the ability and the possibility to pick him up, do you think we should go for it with probably giving them the league minimum for a veteran quarterback?
I would do that as long as that doesn't mess up what what we're going to do long term at quarterback.
Right.
Like I don't want to do that and then not draft a guy. I still want to, as long as we go draft a guy and then Derek, you're here, league minimum, something like that. I would take that. I would take that.
Yeah, definitely. Me too, all day, man. Because first of all, I think the Carr fans within the Raider Nation will get excited again, for bringing him back. I'd be cool with it. I was never a big fan, but I was never an opponent of his. So I thought he was an okay quarterback for the Raiders.
It's cool.
He did as well. I think he definitely would be a good teacher to a young quarterback if we were to draft one. He'd be a good bridge quarterback if he had that mentality going into it and not wanting to be the starter. Now, if he wins the position, then hey, so be it. If he proves he can be a starter, if he can prove he can be that quarterback before he broke his leg with us, then you know what? 100%. Let's go. Let's do it. And it would allow our future quarterback more time to learn and adjust to the NFL situation. So, but again, those are all wishes, and in a perfect world that would happen, but we're just creating these scenarios to see what are the possibilities.
Yeah, no, those are all, no, those are good choices that you gave. But even like a couple outside of the box, that I wouldn't mind as a bridge. Russell Wilson. I always, people have their thoughts on Russ, but I think Russ, if he would kind of same situation as Carr, if he would take less money and understand what his role is going to be, so he's older than Carr, so he probably would have a more understanding, like, hey, I don't have that much time left, let me go ahead and help mentor one of the young bucks, and if he's okay with that, I would love it. And then lastly, which a lot of people may be against, but if you look at him and people that watch the Hard Knocks show, Jameis Winston is a great teammate. I mean, he could be goofy, but the guy is fully dedicated in helping his quarterback room out, as far as helping them study, helping them be professionals. Yeah, granted, he throws, an ungodly amount of interceptions, but as far as a guy that just comes in there, studies, and just, cheerleading his team on, you can't ask for a better teammate than Jameis. So that's the two guys that's to do, kind of out of the box thinking.
Yeah, I definitely think they would be good fits for the bridge quarterback, for a leadership position within the quarterback room. Again, it's just whatever mindset our general manager has, and who he decides to or which way he decides to go with the veteran quarterback leadership. Because as it stands, we still have AOC in the room, and AOC, obviously he's not a great starting quarterback, but you give him the right offensive line, and I think he can do well, at least for now. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah,
know.
I mean, yeah, no, AOC, if all the conditions are favorable, then he can get the job done. Absolutely. The thing is, at this point, he's what, year 3, so he's kind of he's considered a vet, but it's like he's still a rookie because every year he's learning the new system.
Right.
So it's like, so he's not even able to even tell another young guy on, how to run a certain, you know, scheme because he's still learning himself. So
And then he hasn't had a true full season.
yeah, yeah,
Everything has always been, put in after the fact, coming in and out, that type of situation. So he's never had the true full experience of a full season. So, that in itself is not helping his case, but he's here is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, no, yeah, he definitely here. Yeah, he'll be a guy that, um, his name is going to be thrown in the hat. He'll be, and Pete's all about competition. So, no matter what happens, the position is not going to be just handed to nobody. And I love that. I love knowing that. So whoever gets the job, they're going to earn it. If it's AOC, then let's rock.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. At the end of the day, quarterback position, they usually run what, 3 quarterbacks, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, usually 2 and an emergency quarterback. So,
That way, they could have more competition in there, and
yeah. Oh, but yeah, for training camp, they'll have like 4 players in camp usually.
yeah. So let's hope they at least pick a couple of these guys up,
Yeah.
and prove it. Show us that you're able to be the quarterback that we need. The quarterback that if we do pick a quarterback in the draft, the individual that can educate our up and coming future quarterback, and you are a team player.
Right.
That's definitely what the Raiders need right now. They need team players. They need leaders. They need somebody to motivate and push the team forward from this point on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, those are all the topics that we have for this week. Chris, I know that today is Friday. Tomorrow you're going to be heading out to Las Vegas. Tell us about your little trip, my friend.
Yeah, man. So I'm definitely excited on tomorrow I'm going to the Commitment of Excellence dinner. So it's gonna actually be in Henderson, right outside of Vegas. And it's actually going to be a tribute to Max Crosby. Max will be there. I think they're giving him an award and things like that. So it's a dinner that that they have. Alumni will be there. Fans, it's open to the public. They have tickets, so I know tickets are sold out now, but very excited to go there. And then also the next day, myself and my guys from the Raider War Room, which is 805 Raider and Severe Raider, both of my brothers, man. So we're gonna have like a Raider Nation meetup at Barcode Burgers that's in Vegas. Great food. There's gonna be drink specials. There's gonna be food specials. It's gonna be at 1 p.m. So if anyone is in the area, come out, say hey to us. Grab a couple drinks with us, grab some food. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, sounds like a blast, man. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to go, but I will be with you guys in spirit. Definitely promoting the event online for you guys.
Yeah.
For you, Raider Nation, please join my brothers over in Vegas. If you're going to the Commitment to Excellence dinner, enjoy, take pictures, send videos to us. We would like to post them up for you and show the Raider Nation that it's not just about the football on the field, but the Raider Nation out in the world. And hopefully, our next show, Chris, I've requested him to take a lot of photos and a lot of video. And our next show, we will be definitely talking about this event and how much fun Chris had, and how many Raider fans he met, and how many drinks he got from the Raider Nation.
That's gonna be the fun part right there.
Yes, sir. It always is. But Anything else you want to add, Chris? Any shows coming up this week?
No, so we were thinking about maybe doing a live there on the set of the event, but no, we're probably not going to. So yeah, really no shows this week. Probably get back going next week. So for anyone that's looking for good content though, man, make sure you check out my brothers, for TRS, man. My brother, my boy Turf, my boy Cheeto Linus, my boy the Raider Rundown, man. So they always giving top-notch content, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to the brothers, TRS.
My boys.
Yes, sir. All right, Raider Nation. Well, again, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Raider Nation's Weekly Wire. Join us next week. Again, we're going to be talking about Chris's adventure to Vegas with the Raider Nation. If you guys have any questions or any topics that you guys want us to cover, please let us know. We will definitely look into it and bring it up in our next show. Again, like, subscribe, follow. Chris's information is down here as well as mine. Just support, please. Let the Raider Nation know about our show. And as I ended every week, everything we do is for the nation, by the nation.
Raider, let's go, Raider.